Oh yeah, the Valley of Blondie.
Yep.
I'm recording locally on my thing. I've got the YouTube up and recording. Rob, I'm gonna make you a co-host. Actually, anybody who wants to record like locally on theirs for backup purposes, you should be able to. If you can't, let me know and I can make sure it's enabled. But I think we've got at least 3 good streams of this.
Anyone who wants to record, Ben, please hit record too, just so we have backups. We learned our lesson last time.
Well, I fixed my internet a little bit.
It wasn't you. We lost internet.
Oh, well.
So it didn't matter that I was recording.
Okay, I'm recording. It says we're live. I'm sure this is very interesting.
Oh, it is. People are interested about things like this. This is what we call behind the scenes.
That's how the sausage is made.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm not actually Scottish, you see.
Okay, that's too much for me.
All right, well, I'm going to let there's 4 folks, so we'll have a nice 10. Am then.
We'll still wait to 8 to join. So.
Oh, it is. Yeah, I'm sorry. How do you want your video? Like, do you want me to spotlight the 5 of you?
If you know how to do that, that would be the best way.
I told you. I've been
you
learning.
learned. Okay, yeah.
So, in fact, I can do that now. I should be able to. I think so. Well, yeah, spotlight for everyone, and then I'll turn off mine.
Definitely keep Ryan up now that he's really channeling Edgar Allan Poe.
I really like Ryan up there like that. It's good.
Okay. Yes, there we go. Add spotlight. Ben and Rob, and I will add it for myself at least while I add everybody. Oh no! Hey, 6. Hey, I'll just let you know. Kurt Teets. Oh, I don't know how to say his name. Dale Maxfield, who's from Cinemasochists. He's waiting. Willie Golden's out there.
WT, we did invite him.
Yep.
Creator of our music. We love Willie Golden.
Yes. And Philip Stevens, our good friend Philip.
I invited him too. Yeah.
MSTie.
I have friends.
Yeah, I know. Actually, Rob, maybe after this, you and I have a little tea session about inviting things.
Okay. I love tea sessions.
Mm-hmm. So I'm going to go ahead and let everybody in. And of course, I will let people in throughout as they add in. So welcome everybody as you start to get acquainted and connected with your audio. We love seeing video. There's Willie. We love seeing videos. You are muted though. At the end of this, what I'll do is I will allow everybody to unmute themselves because Frank has been gracious enough to do a little Q&A with us after this, as well as if you have any questions for the ROJ guys, the Reels of Justice guys, on maybe how they pick their movies, maybe how it all started and who some of the original participants were in some of the original Reels of Justices. Oh, wait, that was me. Sorry. But welcome, everybody. Please excuse my voice. I stayed up way too late having drinks and fun with other MSTies. Yep. On the Discord. And so I have lost my voice. I got my tea and it's all hot with lemon or whatever. But welcome everyone. Thank you guys for being here. Thank you, Reels of Justice, for again participating in these fun little online events. Start looking at your Easter calendar because when we talked with Frank and Trace last night, Frank was like, I could do Easter. I have no emotional connection to Easter. Sure, I'm down. So
I know that Frank kind of sleeps for 3 days around Easter and then he gets up.
And then he rises, yeah. Brings us eggs and chocolate bunnies that get decapitated. But so I'm going to actually shut up now. And then Rob, I'm going to hand it over to you. Go forth and be funny.
Good luck. I mean, this is a live recording of the Reels of Justice podcast. This is the Reels of Justice boys, and we have special guest Frank Dietz joining us. Disney animator, zombie nightmare, screenwriter, par excellence.
Go on.
Roguish man about town, Gadavant. I mean, the best thing to it is to do it. So I mean, I just say we throw it to Ben and we get this thing started.
Okay.
Order, please, order. The Reels of Justice is now in session. Judge Maynard Bangs presiding. We all rise for the Honorable Judge Bangs.
Be seated. Welcome to the Reels of Justice. Today we are hearing the case of The People versus Grizzly. Grizzly is a 1976 horror thriller about a ranger, a naturalist, and a helicopter pilot who must hunt down a killer bear who has unleashed chaos upon a national park. For those of you unfamiliar with our court proceedings, we are here to determine if this film is guilty of being a bad movie. As always in this courtroom, films are to be considered excellent until proven awful, and the burden of proof lies upon the prosecution to prove beyond a shadow of a reasonable doubt that this film is guilty. Mr. Dylan J. Schlender, you're appearing on behalf of the prosecution. You may begin your opening statement.
Thank you, Your Honor. Ladies and gentlemen of the court, is there no more noble idea than ripping off something that works? According to Edward L. Montoro, the producer of this Drek, there is not. Ripping off Jaws was indeed a recipe for financial success, but what did we, the people, the dear viewers, get on the screen? We got shoddy effects. We got acting so gormless, Google or Alexa could read the lines with more feeling. And we got 1 hour, 1 hour and 30 minutes of pure tedium. Thank God this was on Tubi with the ad breaks so the viewer could recollect their focus and unnumb their mind. Ladies and gentlemen, today in this sacred court, we must find this movie guilty to send a message that we demand more, even from the most derivative of hackers. Thank you.
Oh, thank you very much. And I must say, you look too cool for school there in your shades.
Oh, that's what I was going for. Thank you.
So thank you. And now appearing on behalf of the defense is Mr. Frank Dietz. Please present your opening statement.
Ladies and gentlemen of the court. Now, I will not deny that Grizzly is a ripoff, if you want to call it that, of Jaws. However, there were probably 100 ripoffs of Jaws one way or another at once Jaws became a huge hit, right? And almost all of them suck, like really bad. I don't know if you've ever seen The Last Shark or Tintorero or Octopus, etc., right? I say that Grizzly is the best of the Jaws ripoffs, which makes it valid, in my opinion. I saw the movie in 1976 when it opened, and on a big screen, it packs a real punch. And I would disagree with the prosecution about the quality of the acting and the special effects as well. But I think that by the time we're done here today, you will have no choice but to determine that Grizzly is not a bad movie, and in fact, a fun, very enjoyable movie, and scary as well. There you go.
Thank you. Now, Mr. Schlender, you may proceed with your first exhibit.
Thank you, Your Honor. A question we need to ask ourselves going into this trial is, what can this movie offer? As my esteemed colleague Frank Dietz said, this is a Jaws ripoff. So one area that would deserve special attention would have to be the special effects. Since this movie takes place in the woods, the forest locations, we must come out and say right away, are not particularly menacing, as it was shot in Georgia and it locked the grandeur that was trying to capture with the Pacific Northwest, where grizzly bears would presumably be, though, to be fair, the locations that are made clear in the movie. Even the backyard caliber woods of the Blair Witch Project did more to establish a tone and sense of dread than what we're treated to in Grizzly. And never is the film shot to give the forest a sense of impenetrability or inescapability. On the contrary, the main characters are never once stranded like we see in Jaws. They readily come and go as they please, no shorter than half a dozen times via helicopter or jeep, just coming and going and, hunting the bear at their leisure. So for the setting, we are already, as an audience, completely underwhelmed. There are two facets to the bear we must consider as well. The look of the bear and the potencies of its kills. The bear, we are told, has mythic proportions, 14 feet plus, 2,000 pounds plus, but the actual live bears we see in the feature fail to live up to this hype because they're just real bears. They look like real bears. When you juxtapose this to something like the prosthetic shark we get in Jaws, which had that slight touch of the unreal to it because it wasn't a real shark, it's lifeless eyes, making it all the more menacing. It's
like
why
a doll's eyes.
Yes, exactly. It's why we enjoy seeing things like the shark in Jaws, or like stop motion animation like the Kraken from Clash of the Titans, because that level of spectacle challenges the senses in a way that seeing a real bear simply does not. I would have to say the polar bear from Santa Claus Conquers the Martians is far more evocative of any emotions than the real bears we see in this film.
That's a cheap shot, Mr. Schlender. You're on thin ice. Mr. Dietz, how would you respond to this claim about using a real bear in the film?
Well, first of all, what you can't do, especially in 1976, was create a mechanical bear. A stop motion bear would not have worked either. They'd still be making the movie if that was the case. I think the only choice they had was to use a bear, and that is a big bear. That is a real brown bear, Alaskan brown bear. I know they think Richard Jekyll says that he's 15 feet tall. He's probably only about 11 feet tall when he stands up. But again, I wish that everybody here could have seen it on the big screen. Because the sequence where their lone hunter is walking through the woods and he comes upon the bear, and it's before we've seen a real shot of the bear yet. I mean, we've only gotten the stuntman arm come in, and which
stop walking on my case. That's my next point.
Well, okay. Well, they can't put the real bear in front of real people, unfortunately. But that moment when the guy looks up and the shot starts at the feet of the bear and rises up, and it stops right before you get to his head, but you get this feeling of how huge this thing is. And then it's a pretty exciting chase, actually, right after that, as this guy's trying to get away from this gigantic bear. And
after he drops his gun, he doesn't even take a shot at it.
You know what? That's being called scared shitless, I think.
I mean, what did he even think was going to find?
Hey, look, I dropped my gun in Zombie Nightmare. Nobody says anything about that.
That's the next episode of Reels of Justice, actually.
But I think the bear works great, and I can easily forgive things like a puppet arm or something like that. When you're dealing with the kind of the time period and the budget, certainly it wasn't Jaws. It didn't cost anything near what Jaws cost or was supposed to cost. And I think it mostly works, and it works enough to be scary, if you ask me.
Well, let's move on to the puppet hand, because that is a point that I want to bring up. So going back to the larger point I was making about the spectacle of the film. So whether or not the real bear works as being scary or not, the jury will decide. I vote no. Let's look at how the bear actually. You
don't have a vote.
In the movie,
mind you.
I have paid off Ben. So the kills.
Your check hasn't arrived yet. I'm sorry.
Oh boy. Okay.
Oh wait, so, Ben, do you take Venmo?
No, but I
Judge,
do.
Come on. So
I'll allow it. My Venmo came through.
His Venmo came through. Okay, so the kills, right? This is what the movie's all about at the end of the day, is that the bear is killing people. And these death scenes leave us incredibly wanting. We see a big paw, about the size of my hand, I would say, come out and swipe, not once, not twice, but thrice. And possibly every single time this happens, we're treated to a picture of a limb falling on the ground, and then the actor falling on the ground in a puddle of blood or with really bad scratch effects, if they even have them on there. And so the actors just fall down, swipe, fall down, except for I think maybe the last bear kill. It does look like the bear's on the guy mauling him. And I would say the most compelling kill in the movie is actually when we see a horse being beheaded. But that can't even match the emotion and the spectacle that we saw from the horse head scene in The Godfather that came out 3 years before. So we have a movie where every kill is basically a quick cut, and it's just boring. We don't get any tension, like, again, because this is going to get compared to Jaws a lot through the movie's own design. I mean, they've said as much, that it was supposed to rip off Jaws. And that first scene in Jaws, when the girl is out swimming by the buoy and Jaws gets her and pulls her around, and that's tense. I mean, when people say they can't go in the water anymore because of Jaws, that first scene has a lot to do with it. Now compare that to the first kill we get in Grizzly. Is we have two presumably co-eds just walking about after a 10-mile hike, and they get back to their camp and like, oh, I'm tired and this is killing me. One says, I'm gonna go use the restroom, and such as it is in nature. And the other one's cooking her food. And what sneaks up on her, not a knife wielding maniac or not some kind of land shark. No, it's what's supposed to be a 14-foot, 2,000-pound grizzly sneaks up on her, doesn't hear it breathing, no twig snaps, no nothing, big claw, knocks her down. Her roommate comes back and sees this kill and is just like, and runs away, like no emotion, which is going to lead me into my next point about how gormless the acting is in this. If you wanted to,
by which you mean there are no Gorns in the movie, right?
No. Well, there are no Gorns, Your Honor, but Gorm with an M.
Oh,
yes. Though I would
well, I'd
say
like to hear from
Mr.
Mr. Dietz about these kill effects too, as well. If he has,
I completely disagree. I think there's plenty of tension. That scene that you're talking about, that basically opens the movie after some beautiful helicopter shots, I think works fantastically, because you've got the POV of the bear as it's coming, through the woods. And at one point, the camera, they I don't know if they used a crane or whatever it is for the POV, but it suddenly rears up, like as if the bear has stood up on its hind legs and is the full height, the 15 feet or whatever it's supposed to be, right? And then comes back down again and gets closer and closer and closer. And I think that's really effective. As far as her being able to hear the bear coming. Bears are sneaky, man. Bears are sneaky. Very sneaky.
Ladies and gentlemen of the court, bears are sneaky. This is not only a mythical 14-foot bear, it is the mythical 14-foot ninja bear. I believe
Mr. Slender precedent has been set of the People versus Yogi Bear, that bears are sneaky. This is well known.
Not in this courtroom.
And they will take your picnic baskets.
I want to add to that, though, because one of the things that really struck me, certainly the first time I saw it, but still, when I watch the movie quite often, actually, the kills are designed to avoid putting real people in a scene with a real bear, because that is dangerous. I know that they used like electrical wires to keep the bear from getting too close to the humans in any particular shot, but the gore is pretty intense. The scene where the bear rips through the tent and grabs this woman and it rips this couple to shreds, basically, is shot in a pretty terrifying way, because it's sort of sped up a little bit, so it looks that much scarier. And come on, now, you have to admit, the little kid playing with the bunny that the bear picks up and starts to maul, and the mother comes running out with a broom and tries to fight him off. And there's a shot where the kid falls to the ground and he's covered in blood, and one of his legs is missing. And it's very quick, but it makes, I've watched it with people who've never seen it before, and people actually went, oh my God, like, how did they do that? So I think that the kills are very effective, and the kill of spoilers, of course, because we have to. Richard Jekyll's death, I thought was really creative in what they didn't show, because we establish that bears, one of the many facts about bears that you get throughout the movie is that bears will take their prey, maim it, eat part of it, bury it in a very shallow grave, and then come back to it later to finish. And that's what happens to Richard Jekyll's character, to Scotty, is that he gets maimed after his horse gets beheaded, which I love. And then he gets buried, and he's on the radio with the other guys when the bear comes back. And the indication is that they had to listen to him get eaten alive. And I thought that was really well filmed without having to actually show it. I thought that there was something horrible about the idea of that. Sometimes
something horrible about the way it was made, that's for sure. If they left all these good ideas outside the movie so we could use our imagination. I'm imagining
Mr.
a
Prosecution,
16-foot bear right now. Okay, I'm sorry.
That's enough snark from you. What I'd like to hear is your retort about the movie being educational.
We do get some interesting bear facts in that. I will not lie, and they do keep the plot moving because something.
If you
has
did, you'd
to.
be a bare-faced liar.
Your puns are unbearable, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Be careful, man. I will sue your bear ass.
All right, allow me to lay more facts bare for the court here.
Okay.
If we could talk about Scotty's...
Everyone has left the meeting.
They're all gone. If we could talk about Scotty's death, though, because I think that is interesting. He's one of the main characters, because we have absolutely no emotional attachment to any of the other characters who die in the movie. None. They're just there to die, including the bathing beauty ranger who is out looking for a murderous bear and decides it's a great time to strip down to her skivvies and go for a waterfall swim. And of course, the gigantic bear sneaks into the waterfall to grab her from behind. But that's neither here nor there. Going back to Scotty. Mauled, buried, he wakes up, killed again. There is not a lot of stuff that happens in between there. You don't get that sense of time of him suffering or anything. You basically get the standard kill formula in this movie. He gets a big paw to the face. He's down. He gets up. He turns around. He sees the bear over him. He resigns himself to his death. Boom, laying down in a puddle of ketchup gore. So I have to disagree with you, Mr. Dietz, that the death of Scotty is particularly evocative or emotional when it should be the most emotional death in the movie, maybe second only to the helicopter pilot.
Mr. Dietz, how would you respond to this? Would the film be more interesting if the bear pulled out a gun or something?
If the bear had a helicopter to chase them.
That's it. That's in the novelization, by the way, the gun scene.
Oh yeah, bear pulls out a gun.
Is that actually the book?
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, with the Neil Adams artwork.
Guys.
I think it works marvelously, and I actually like Richard Jekyll's character. I like Scotty's character. He's a little.
Just give me an
He pulls. I love. There's a scene where they're arguing with the guy who runs the park. About keeping the park open, whatever. And Richard Jekyll makes a very interesting acting choice. He's asleep in the chair, and Christopher George has to wake him up to leave the scene. It's like that's because people like actors like that, like Richard Jekyll and Andrew Preen. They make interesting choices. Christopher George is okay.
I don't know. Me falling asleep during that scene was completely involuntary. So I'm glad he said, wake up. Oh, yeah, I got to watch this movie to prosecute it. My goodness. And watched it twice. I did. And my God, that's 3 hours of my life I'm never getting back.
And I'll tell you something else about the death of Don, Andrew Preen's character.
The helicopter pilot?
That actually bothered me a great deal because he was a character that I actually really liked. Him and Scotty are the two characters that I found very interesting, and it bothered me that he died. It bothered me a lot that he died because I felt like he didn't deserve to die, but that means it means that the character got to me. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but that guy in the watchtower, forget about him. He just
now fuck him. You're right. Sorry.
No.
Poorly
That's
constructed watchtower.
Yes,
but
I doubt that could survive the storm.
That's also a good effect, by the way, because it's not a miniature. Like they built a watchtower and they collapsed it.
On that poor man,
the real bear attacking it. And I don't see how you can't see how that bear is scary. It's huge, and when it roars.
Well, that's the problem, is that it's described as a huge, like almost mythical, possibly supposed to be extinct kind of beast. They want you to think of it as a monster. And when you see it, it just looks like a bear you've seen on the Discovery Channel. There's nothing particularly menacing about it. Like, we know bears are dangerous. We know this bear is dangerous because it's killed a bunch of people, a fact that seems to really take a long time to seep into the character's head. There's a severe lack of urgency in this movie amongst all the characters. I mean, at the end, when the helicopter pilot is like, well, let's bring some of my nom surplus to kill this monster bear. It's like, holy dude, where was this like 2 days ago and 3 people's lives ago, my guy? So that's going to kind of roll into the next thing I want to bring up. I did want to talk about the acting, because every character who gets killed or mauled is completely expressionless. They go, bear swipe, dead. The main character is all over the place. You don't know. It's like, are they being emotional? Are they frustrated? Like, he doesn't know. It seems like the sheriff just got the dailies and he's reading the script at that moment and just barking his lines, and then, like you said, with Scotty sleeping on the chair and everything, like he was sleepwalking through that whole movie. He should have been telling him to wake up the whole movie. So, and it's not just that too, it's all like the little incidental characters as well that just don't work. Like the journalist doesn't sound convincing at all, the way he's asking his questions. Like, hey, that would be a good headline, and then I take severe umbrage with the Ranger telling him, it's like, you press her out here making things exciting. Nothing made that movie exciting. So I have no idea what he was talking about. So I would definitely say that's a huge check mark against the movie. The main characters, you don't get a lot of emotional investment with them. You don't get a lot of time. There's a fledgling love story with the photographer who's there to maybe save her dad's restaurant, but that's completely forgotten about. And she's completely forgotten about by the end of the movie as well. So she's not even really a motivating or driving force for the Ranger. It just seems like the Ranger's just kind of doing his job. And he says like, oh man, he literally has a scene where he's like, I like this job when it's easy and I just have to walk around and not do anything. It's like, well, yes, we all like our job when it's not easy, but you really need to be focused on killing this bear. Get out of the office. It's just a very, very
all right,
bizarre
Mr. Dietz, I'd like to hear from you about the acting.
I've already said, I actually think that particularly Andrew Preen and Richard Jekyll are quite good. I'd say one thing about the romance element of it. One of the things I like about this movie is that they don't dwell on it at all. It's not a big interference with what really needs to happen, which is them finding the bear, killing the bear, etc. And going through all the motions necessary to find and kill a bear.
It's apparently not too hard.
I think the acting's quite good, and it's really interesting actually. If you want to put it in a certain perspective, William Girdler's next movie, which came out only a year or two later, it's called Day of the Animals, has a lot of the same actors in it. It has Christopher George and it has Richard Jekyll. Richard Jekyll is terrible in Day of the Animals. I mean, that's him literally sleepwalking through a role. I thought he brought a lot of humor and I thought he was rather intense as Scotty. And in fact, it's funny because I've seen people say that they compare it to Jaws in that Christopher George is Brody, that Andrew Preen is Quint, and that Richard Jekyll is Hooper. And it's actually, those last two are the other way around. if they say Andrew Preen is just because he's got the helicopter, he's got the vehicle, like Quint had a boat, and that Hooper was a naturalist who knew all about sharks, and Scotty knew all about bears. But in fact, as far as personalities go, it's the other way around. Scotty is actually sort of a loose cannon in a lot of ways, and Andrew Preen's character is more sort of the voice of reason. So I like that they kind of switched or sort of mingled those characters together. I think
the
those
court
characters work
sustains
really well.
that, because that is the exact comparison I was making earlier today to the prosecutor. The way you explained it, that the naturalist is absolutely Quint.
Yeah,
I did say they were blended a little more. Come on. But so you talk about their personalities, though. It's just not on display in the film because they keep doing the same beats back and forth. They go out and look for the bear. They don't find it. They come back. The head of the park yells at them to find the bear, and they say, we're going to do it our own way. They go out and look for the bear. They don't find it. The bear kills someone else, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, until they finally have the idea to bring the, well, it's not a bazooka, but, the military hardware to finally blow the bear up, which really they should have done from the jump, So I don't think you get to see this personality dynamic just because they always hit the same beats, like for four different scenes in the whole movie until you ultimately get to the climax. Yeah.
I'm not sure how to respond to that.
You stumped him.
I think the pacing. I think that the pacing works quite well. I don't find any part of that movie where I drift off. I think for a B picture, which it is a B picture, I think the pace of the movie moves quite quickly. I don't see it dragging much at all. There's a marvelous sequence just toward the right around the third act where they're in the helicopter and they're chasing the bear, and it's beautifully shot. It's like you could actually see the bear running. It's a very big bear, and the helicopter's following it, trying to keep up with it and so forth. I actually like a lot of the photography in the movie as well, because the opening, the helicopter shots are I think gorgeous. I never even thought about whether it was Georgia or not. I think I always assumed it was Louisville, Kentucky, just because that's where William Girdler was from. The director.
Yeah, no, the film was shot in Georgia, and like I said, they don't actually tell us where the movie's supposed to take place. I think you're supposed to maybe assume the Pacific Northwest, but
it's a national park.
It's a national park, exactly.
National Park, USA.
Yeah, it was Jellystone.
Jellystone.
Yeah. So, and I think that's an interesting thing when you looking back, pulling back from the movie itself a bit, but looking around the circumstances that it was made. We've talked about this a bit, but this idea of just being a completely derivative Jaws ripoff, which at the time you could see why that kind of movie would be made. You want to cash in while it's hot. It's not like you can go to the video store and just rent Jaws back in '76, but here we are now in the glorious year of 2020, where all this stuff is available streaming and everything. So it really begs the question, what does Grizzly bring to the table that makes it worth watching over the superior films such as Jaws, or as I would say, maybe even something like Lake Placid? What does Grizzly bring to the table now that we're outside of '76? And I just like to say, for the record, I don't think it offered much in '76 either, but it certainly offers us nothing now in 2020, where we have a bevy of options available at all times. A bevy.
You're on thin ice, counselor. No use for bevy in my courtroom.
It was the highest grossing independent film of 1976. It actually made a ton of money.
No, it made a lot of money, and that's what it was made for. No, it was made to make money, and it was successful in that regard. But as a film and what we see on screen, I don't think it brings anything to the table that you can't get from Jaws, and especially now, because like back in the day, you had to go. I mean, you would know, not me. You said you saw it actually in '76. You know, like you weren't going out. You couldn't just go see Jaws in the theater because it wasn't in the theater. You couldn't just rent it on VHS because it wasn't there. You know, like those things didn't exist yet. So churning out these kind of drive-in flicks, it made sense financially because it scratched that itch for people. But can it still scratch that itch in 2020 when you can just watch whatever you want at your fingertips? You don't need, it's like, why have hamburgers when you can have steak?
So I like hamburgers.
Yeah, I like hamburgers too, but so maybe it's not the best metaphor. But
you can't put pickles on steak, baby.
I will give you that. Certainly give you that Grizzly is a hamburger. But it's to me, it's a delicious hamburger. I love watching it. I've actually had watch parties of it. Not riffing. Well, we sitting there riffed it on, obviously, but we can't help but do that.
How could you not? There's so much stuff not happening. You have to
do that with every movie. I do that with Jaws too. But I think it's this is when we did the Omega Man. One of the things that came up and was in the end, what made it win that case was that despite its drawbacks, it's fun. And I think Grizzly is fun. I love watching it. I like the characters. I love the deaths. I like the gore. I like the bear. And that all just works for me, knowing that it is a ripoff of Jaws.
See, I do have to, unfortunately, it'll just be way too subjective. I don't see the fun in it the way that you would get in a movie like Lake Placid, for example, which really leans into the humor. At no point in Grizzly do they really lean into any kind of humor. Like, it's always that same one-note seriousness that all the actors have. It's very expressionless and very emotionless. But with that, Your Honor, I'll rest my case and yield the rest of the time to Frank to make his argument.
Rest your case. You have no witnesses to call or anything.
Oh, well, hold on, man. Let me check my satellite phone if he's available. It took a long time for us at Reels of Justice to track down this man. But as many people of the court may or may not know, Edward L. Montoro has been missing since the 80s. Using all the resources available to us, I was able to track him down as a special witness for this trial. No. In exchange for 3 years off his potential sentence, he has agreed to testify against Grizzly in this very court of law today.
He has no head.
No head. Mr. Montoro.
Headless.
It's
you do the whole thing just like that, Rob. Just like that.
I'm gonna try. My name is not Rob. My name is Edward.
You don't even know.
Edward Montoro. Thank you for joining us today. As you know, the subject at hand is we are trying to determine whether or not Grizzly is guilty of being a bad movie. Now, you admit that this was made to just be a pure Jaws ripoff and a cash grab, you being such an expert in grabbing cash.
Yes, of course, this movie was made to be a cash grab. What movies are not made to be cash grabs? We love grabbing cash.
I am sure we have people possibly in this courtroom that make movies out of passion and love. I don't know who they might be. I don't want to point any fingers, but they're certainly not you, sir.
I don't know anyone who makes movies for no money.
It's not about the money. It's about the passion. It's about having something to say.
I have passion for money.
Would you say Grizzly had anything to say or offer the film canon, keeping in mind you are under oath in wherever you are?
Perhaps that bears are fucking dangerous and that I like making money.
Yes, of course you do, Mr. Montoro.
I would like to reiterate I am appearing from a secret location. My whereabouts are at secret at this time. And so that is why I'm wearing this bag over my head to protect my identity.
Yes, of course, Mr. Montoro. And we are not interested in your numerous crimes and scandals. We are just interested in your one crime, your one scandal,
crimes.
Grizzly.
Alleged crimes. There's been no
All right.
conviction.
So, your witness, Mr. Dietz.
I just want to. I'm paraphrasing slightly, I'm sure, but Mr. Maynard Taro, did you or did you not say after the fact and before you ripped off all the people that worked on the movie, didn't pay them?
They were cool with it.
Didn't you not say that? Yes, that it was created to be to be derivative of Jaws, and was made to make money. But looking back, you considered it the best movie that you ever produced.
Yes, I do agree. This was the best movie I ever produced.
What about
Largely
Mutant?
based on the fact that I can't think of any others that I produced.
I think you produced The Last Shark too. What
Yes,
is that?
he did.
That's a laugh.
That one was worse. Absolutely.
Well,
Really was The Last Shark.
Mr. Montoro, we don't want to take up too much of your time, as
Thank
you would
you. I'm
allegedly
very
be
busy.
91
whatever
to 92
location I
years
might
old
be.
right now.
Whatever location but I've been in good shape. And keeping
No, you sound great. So while we actually have you here real quick, do you have any plans for future movies or crimes coming up?
Yes, I plan to rip off many people with my future movie, Dino Place, where we genetically create a dino place of dinosaurs which run amok and begin to eat people, and also a total ripoff of Black Swan.
Oh, well, we all look forward to that. Well, thank you very much for your time, Mr. Montoro. Nothing further. And
I'm not on Easter Island.
No, of course not. So with that, I will now yield and rest my case and yield the rest of the time to Mr. Dietz, and I will talk long enough as it takes for our judge to get their wig back on.
What?
Nice, smooth transition.
Then fine, sir. How dare you besmirch? Don't make a mockery of my courtroom, Mr.
Get time to
Slender.
lose
Now,
your head, Judge.
it's fine. Enough of you, juryman number 2. Mr. Dietz, the floor is yours to present any further arguments you'd like to defend this particular film.
I think that I've made all of the points that I need to make. I know that this movie is considered the best of the animal nature against animal movies up until a certain point. I would agree that newer movies like Lake Placid might have better effects or whatever. I can't say the acting's much better, but I like, and the humor's not that good in it either.
Oh,
Anyway.
God, David E. Kelly's a genius.
No, he's not. Not for movies, maybe TV.
I love Oliver Platt, though.
Really? Oh, all right. To me, the movie is exciting. The bear is terrifying. I think that, considering what they had to work with, I like the effects, almost all of them, in fact, and I like the acting. And in the end, when I watch this movie, I have a great time. And like I said, I've had watch parties. I had people come to my house where we all sat around and watched it. And, we might have been drinking at the time, but, still we're having fun watching it. And I think that's what keeps it from being able to call it a bad movie. Rest my case.
Right. Both the prosecution and the defense have now rested their cases, and so we will now move to closing arguments. Prosecution, you may present your closing statement.
Thank you, Your Honor. Ladies and gentlemen of this august courtroom, when it comes to Grizzly, it is important to remember that this is a shameless cash grab, trying to make a quick buck that was immediately stolen by Mr. Montoro as he fled the country to parts unknown.
Allegedly.
Take it easy, Judge. I'm talking about Montoro.
Wait, those voices sound very similar.
Okay, you've been warned, Mr. Jury Member. Now, where was I? Yes, my closing arguments. So, Grizzly is a joyless, vapid excuse of a movie. with shoddy, to call special effects shoddy is an insult to the word shoddy. We need a word that is lower than shoddy, but I don't know what that would be.
Shitty?
Possibly. The special effects would be like someone trying to hide their identity on a Zoom call. They're that bad. But it's not just the bad effects. It's not just that it's a cash grab. It's that the movie does the same thing over and over and over again, and it is very boring, and it is just not a pleasure to watch. You cannot extract joy from this movie. So you must go into that jury chamber and vote your heart, vote your mind, vote for those hundreds of people that Montoro hurt, and find this film guilty. Thank you.
Mr. Defense, you may now present your closing statement.
I find nothing but joy in this movie. I forgive it. Its drawbacks, as I forgive most movies, anyway.
Not Whoopi Goldberg
I find
movies.
the movie very exciting. I find I just find that the bear is terrifying. The characters are interesting enough to keep the movie flowing. And I would have to ask, I don't know if our jurors have actually seen the movie or if they're just listening. And I would love to have known if, based on this argument, is it a movie you would want to go and watch or just disregard? So I think it's a terrific, fun movie to watch. And I love the bear. That bear just scares the crap out of me. I think it's in many ways scarier than the shark in Jaws. So that's about it. That's about it for me. So,
well, thank you both. Members of the jury, Mr. Rob Maynard, Mr. Big Ben Haslar, and Mr. Smarter Than the Average Bear, Ryan Luis Rodriguez. You have all heard the facts concerning this case. It is now up to you to determine if this film is guilty of being a bad movie. The bailiff will escort you to the deliberation room to render your verdict. And Ben, we'll have you be the foreman. You can start.
All right. Well, this one was kind of a fun one. I did enjoy this movie. I don't agree with the prosecutor at all when he says it's joyless. I had nothing but joy, like the defender said, watching it. But I don't know if it was the kind of joy they were intending that I have, because I was laughing throughout, and I don't think they wanted that. Like when the bear slices, it's like fake paw hand, and it's like a katana. It just like takes this horse head right off. That is, I couldn't stop laughing at that sort of thing. So I am enjoying it. I don't want to, perjure the movie on that case. And I am sort of sympathetic to the argument that it could be a theater movie. I did not see it in the theater. So that experience, I do think it would probably add quite a bit to see that 50-foot bear coming at me rather than whatever I had. Mr. Rodriguez, what did you think of the film?
I find it interesting that we keep talking about a Jaws ripoff because there are no bears in Jaws. Did you guys not know this?
The bear has Jaws.
All right, well, I guess
that's a paradigm shift right there.
This movie is literally Jaws. It could only be more Jaws if it was called Jaws. It's not as good as Jaws 2, but it's better than Jaws: The Revenge. But in terms of its relative quality as a movie, I mean, it was made by criminals, so there's that.
I didn't even know that. It's like, it sounds like I'm missing a part of it because I didn't get the backstory.
Edward L. Montoro has the most fascinating Wikipedia page, possibly in the entire website.
Thank you.
But I mean, in terms of it's not a good movie. It's not. But is it fun? Hell yes, it's fun.
Very fun.
That's the question. I mean, okay, you're saying it's not a good movie, but the question is whether it gets all the way to bad.
Yes.
I do agree. I don't think the pacing is bad at all. There's basically bear stuff happening pretty much the whole time.
It's the same note, though. I would agree with the prosecutor on that. It's like, oh, let's go back and then let's go hunt a bear.
Oh, I don't know.
Okay, let's go back and let's go hunt a bear.
Someone in a cabin. Then he attacks someone in a tent. those are different locations. And then there's a house, like a
circling.
backyard. I mean, you're right. It's a bear attacking someone the whole time, but like I said, how
Much
many
the
ways
same way. I mean, he doesn't, change it up in anything. He just like sneaks up on them and then boom, slices.
What do you think he should have used arsenic one of the times? Like, what are the other ways bears have to kill people besides
I don't know.
claws
Like
and jaws?
with Jaws, it's like it feels different. Like where the fin is like in one scene, and then like the dragging is in another scene. It's not the same sort of shots. The tower was different. I'll give it that.
Yeah,
one.
I mean, this definitely has the lower budget of the two, but like, I think like what Frank said earlier is like they were so smart in the beginning. I love the bear POV. I pretty much love the bear point of view the whole time in the beginning, because it's like, if you really can't afford to show me a good bear doing something, what can you do here? I would have loved to see more bear point of view rather than that sort of over the shoulder fake bear arm that we got half the time. I would have rather seen more bear POV and just like creative shooting.
Where he stands up and it's like the size of the tree, like right next to him. And you're thinking, holy crap, this thing must be entirely huge. And we haven't seen it at this point.
Well, he is a big old bear. I mean, he's a big old bear.
Now, do you guys know how they got the bear to roar? Because he wouldn't actually roar.
Did they kick him in the testicles, Ryan?
No, they did not.
Oh,
So
good.
this was the largest bear in captivity at the time in 1976 when they shot him.
Eddie.
And he was kept behind an electrical fence at all times. So basically, in order to put him in scenes with other people, they put a little string, a green string in front of him that was between the actors and the bear, and he thought it was an electrical fence and wouldn't cross it. Now, in order to get him to roar, he wouldn't roar. So what they did is they fed him marshmallows, and they gave him 3 or 4, and then if they wanted him to open his mouth and go like that, they would hold it in front of his face and taunt him with it. And then they put the roar in post-production. Now, there's also a guy in a bear suit several times. I'm kind of amazed that wasn't actually brought up in the trial, because it spawns my single favorite scene, which is the woman and child getting attacked. Because the entire time, it's clearly a guy in a bear suit. Like Wicker Man level bear suit, Midsummer level bear suit. And it's clearly a guy in a bear suit hugging both of them going, come here. Come on. Don't fight it. Don't fight it. Intercut with footage of a bear thousands of yards away, stretching his mouth to eat marshmallows.
Okay, I mean,
that's it. It's the single greatest scene in the entire film.
I'm not going to argue that any scene that dares maul a child and tear his leg off isn't good. That's got my vote every time.
So you're voting not guilty, like right up there?
It's not enough, but I'm telling you, it helps a lot. But it's, of course, it's so much like aping Alex Kittner, right? In Jaws. It's like, well, they killed a kid. We better kill a kid too. And at least they didn't actually kill the kid. They just made the rest of his life really, really hard and made him like an orphan. But I don't know. I did have fun with the movie. I'd say if it has a weak point, I think the 3 main characters are sort of flat. I sort of remember them by the jobs they had. But like their personality doesn't, it's not like Quint and Hooper, and Brody. It doesn't have that quality to it.
Like that guy who's living in the mountains, like he should have been zanier. He just like, he comes out of the mountains, he's like, well, let's go hunt this bear.
There's one kind of 1-to-1 analog, and it's the park supervisor, who is the mayor from. He's
totally the mayor.
Hamilton, except he's Murray Hamilton. If Murray Hamilton came like right out and said, "Yeah, I'm the bad guy. What about it? Yeah, I don't care if people get eaten by bears. In fact, I like it. I think more people should get eaten by bears on my watch." He's so transparent.
It's their fault for not running away. It's a bear. He was great. The like forest mayor, whatever he was supposed to be.
Forest mayor.
It was like, we got re-election. We're not going to close the forest right before Arbor Day. We can't close the forest before Arbor Day.
I'm imagining no one can see me.
So
they can.
Oh, there's the voices in my head again. Stop. Okay.
Again,
it's gone.
That was Daniel. We say hi to Daniel, but anyway, so For my vote, I'm gonna give my vote to the crowd, but I'd like to hear what Ben and Ryan. So far, I saw 2 guilties to about. Well, actually, one of those guilties doesn't count because it was the prosecution who shouldn't be allowed.
Gotta try.
So there's 5 not guilties to 1 guilty. So for that, as judge, I'm giving my vote not guilty in unity with the crowd here. So I'm going not guilty because I could totally see putting this movie on again just to watch bears hang out. And it's kind of got that cool old artifact style where you're like, it's just a real cheapo movie from the 70s and bears are cool. It's got a real big bear. So Ryan,
sadly, I mean, Day of the Animals was brought up earlier, and sadly, this is not Day of the Animals. Day of the Animals is batshit crazy and awesome. Leslie Nielsen hugs a bear shirtless.
I think it's the same bear.
Oh, God. Yeah, it probably is.
Probably is Teddy.
Oh my God! Oh, that movie's so great. I think that's the only missed opportunity is that we should have more movies about global warming turning animals feral. But yeah, I'm gonna go guilty.
Ben, you are the tiebreaker here.
I did not want to be the tiebreaker because I do like this movie, but I don't like it for the right reasons. I don't like it for the reason it was intended. Like when a guy sees a bear and he throws his gun to the ground and just takes off. That is, that tells you everything you need to know. You're having fun laughing.
What's up? Eu sou rainha das gays.
Well, that was weird.
People, I don't know. A lot of people wandering in enjoying.
Yeah, but we have endured some Homer Simpson gifs where people just were talking in tongues.
Have you been saying gifs to people?
Oh, good. See, he's still here. I would like
to. For a while now.
Say again.
Have you been saying gifs like that for a while?
Yes, and you know what? No. RuPaul says GIFs, and I believe in RuPaul, so I go with that.
All right. Anyway, we're gonna let
the G stands for graphic, Nina.
I know. I don't give a shit though, because guess what? I'm not an IT person.
Okay, that doesn't change the fact that it stands for graphic.
I don't care. I'm going away. Shh.
I will vote that it is a bad movie, but I no way say that it's a movie that no one should watch. People should watch this movie and they should absolutely have fun with it. So I hope our defender, takes solace in that I'm not saying it's bad in the same way that, some of the other movies we rule as bad are. It is a very, very fun movie, but unfortunately not as intended.
Oh, so you're guilty too. So that's 2 guilty.
I'm guilty. But it's an interesting question as far as bad movie versus good movie. Where is that sort of divider? Because you can have fun with a bad movie, and that's sort of where this is to me. It's very, very enjoyable.
All right.
Okay.
We're waiting for the judge to come back from his chambers. It seems. As soon as he gets back, everybody all rise. I don't know.
All right. He's getting there.
No, he's got to
put are we back to deliver our verdict?
Yes, Your Honor. In the case of The People versus Grizzly, we find the defendant guilty of being a bad movie.
Well,
that goes out to everyone that Montoro ripped off.
The verdict is so rendered. Grizzly is hereby sentenced to rip off more obscure films from the 70s, such as Killdozer or Bad Ronald. Court is adjourned. And Ryan, you going to do interviews outside the courtroom?
Got it. This is Ivana Tinkle reporting to you live from outside the Reels of Justice. Mr. Dietz, would you care to share your thoughts on the jury's verdict?
Yeah, I find the jury hypocritical because the last time I was on this show, everyone agreed with me about the quality of the movie we were talking about, but did not give it a guilty vote because they said it was fun. So all of you said that this movie is fun.
I didn't.
I don't get it. Well, I know you didn't. So I'm greatly offended, and I will continue to maintain that this is a highly enjoyable fun movie to watch, which makes it good to me. So
that is fair.
There you
And
go.
technically, if we counted it, right, if we counted all the audience members' votes individually, it probably would have been a not guilty.
Oh, maybe we should let Dina be the deciding vote then.
No, don't let Dina talk more than she actually has to.
Thank you. We've been outed as hypocrites. And here comes Mr. Slender. Excuse me, can we get a word on how you feel about today's verdict?
I would just like to extend my gratitude to our colleague, Frank Dietz. He came on and put on a great case. This was certainly an interesting movie. I'm glad we had the trial. I believe in the system, in the reels of justice. So I do believe justice was served here today. And thank you, everyone.
Thank you very much. That's all we have from the courthouse today. Let's go back to the studio for post-trial analysis. This is Ivana Tinkle from the Gabagool Gazette reporting out.
Oh, that was a great trial.
Frank
Good job.
hates us.
I love it. Frank, you've been here twice, but the jury keeps.
I
not
know,
helping
keep
you
shooting
out.
me down. I know.
I don't know.
I felt bad about it. I think like the difference for me is though, I don't know that Grizzly was fun in the way that they intended it to be fun, whereas Omega Man I think is fun in the way it's intended to be fun. With the with the motorcycle chase and stuff.
I mean, yeah, but side by side, Omega Man to Grizzly, Omega Man's a lot more fun. That is
Justified in Grizzly, which is
light years more fun. And I don't think we let Omega Man off necessarily on being how fun it was, in that Charlton Heston is big, over the top, which wasn't bad for the film. But I thought we let it off for being good, not fun. I think Omega Man's actually a good movie.
I think that's how I voted, because it's actually like somewhat original, and that it like kind of takes from the different genres, like taking blaxploitation and mixing it up with like science fiction. Whereas, Grizzly is Jaws with a bear.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, Omega Man, I think, would actually hold off, because traditionally we usually don't let fun get movies off. We're a very unfun court.
We did in the case of Jason Takes Manhattan, but it's not like I'm
yeah, well, who's keeping track?
That
what
is
we
true,
need though is
Skipper's
a
so
movie.
charming.
We need a movie about Edward Montoro's life. That's, if we're taking anything out of this trial today, is that man needs a movie about his
I'm willing
exploits.
to star.
And we need to pay him for the rights to it, by the way.
Yes.
Very good. So, Frank, what has been keeping you busy? What have you been doing lately?
Boy, it's so much going on. Geez. I just, every day I'm out there meeting with people and no, I'm not, actually.
I was about to
So,
scold you, sir.
I mostly, I've had a screenwriting gig that I've been working on for like a year and a half now. Only because the client took an entire year to get notes back to me on the outline.
It was Montoro, wasn't it?
It was. You know what?
You found him.
Who knew he was living in Glendale the whole time? So I just recently finished an 83-page treatment for that script, which hopefully they'll read sometime before, 2022 and move forward. I wrote another episode of Creepshow, which hopefully will get made in season 3. Just waiting now for my season 2 episode to show up. I'm not sure, they haven't announced air dates yet for that. They did show the Creepshow holiday special like 2 weeks ago, which was originally intended to be episode 2.1. So it was supposed to be the first episode of season 2, but since it had an evil Santa Claus in it, they decided to make it a holiday special, which I thought was actually kind of brilliant. So I don't know when season 2 of Creepshow shows up, if now my episode was supposed to be episode 2 of season 2. Maybe now it'll be episode 1. I have no idea, but I'm looking forward to it because it has some really cool stuff in it.
Yeah, I hope it's episode 1 because it's kind of a creature feature, right? And
Yeah, there's creatures in it, all right. Yeah.
and
Yeah,
as a rule, generally, I
it's
like
mostly a
creatures.
guy in a bear suit, but
Nice.
the way they shoot it, the angle, it looks very realistic.
It's perfect. No, that's what I like. As long as there's eventually a bear standing around reacting for him, other times that'll be golden. So Frank, we take recommendations for movies you think people should see. And so, what is a recommendation of a movie you think people should check out? Maybe another creature
I
feature.
think of something. Last time I think I talked about A Boy and His Dog, right?
Yep.
Okay. There's a movie coming out in March on Blu-ray for the first time, and it is the director's cut of Perdita Durango, which is a just balls to the wall, insane movie. I'm blanking on the director's name. He's a South American director, and the movie was released in the U.S. Under the title "Dance with the Devil," and it was I think it was Javier Bardem's first English-speaking movie. It's him, Rosie Perez are these two criminals who deal in voodoo and kidnap some nice white kids from across the border and get into all kinds of insane shit. It is, and James Gandolfini plays the detective who's trying to hunt them down. And when I tell you that this movie just goes in crazy directions that you never see coming, it's funny, it's freaky. Screaming Jay Hawkins is in it as a voodoo guy, and it's a spectacular performance. But it's long, and that's the thing. Dance with the Devil, when they released it here, they literally cut 40 minutes out of the movie.
Oh.
And removed basically all the meat from it. And so Dance with the Devil is not good, but Perdita Durango is fantastic. And I highly recommend it. It's coming out from Severin, I think, Severin Films, or Severin or Grindhouse. I can't remember now. One of the, independent.
Severin sounds right.
Yeah, Severin, I think, is right. But it's they're taking pre-orders for it now, and it'll be released in March. But it's just nuts, and I love every minute of it. It's amazing.
Steve in the chat confirmed that it was Severin.
Thanks, Steve.
So for our next recommendation, it will be since I was the judge. And my recommendation is another movie about a big old bear, and it's called Unnatural from 2015. And a photographer and a gaggle of his sweetest models go on up to Alaska for a shoot. A bevy of beauties, and they go up to Alaska for a photography shoot. And while they're there, they stay at a cabin with some locals. But little do these people know that they are about to be torn the fuck apart one by one by a genetically modified polar bear. And not the warm, cuddly kind that enjoyed soda pop in those Coca-Cola commercials we watch each Christmas. Now, while this film might be what I'd call a hacker being a term I myself have popularized over the past few years for cheesy, low-budget films that may or may not be difficult to get through. It does star the incredibly talented James Remar of The Warriors fame, and features a cameo by Ray Wise of Ray Wise fame.
Oh, I know what their budget must have been.
So all in all,
I love Ray. He's great, but he's affordable.
Well, it's one of those 8 movies to die for. I think it went straight to DVD. But all in all, I think Unnatural is one genetically modified polar bear movie that's guaranteed to give you pause. To give you pause. These are the jokes, Ryan. All right. Dylan, why don't you give us your recommendation next?
All right. I talked about it a little bit during the case. I'm going to recommend Lake Placid. I think it's kind of takes that Jaws feel, but it just adds a little more, punches up the humor a bit more. And it's a giant alligator or crocodile. I get them mixed up, to be honest.
Frank will know.
Yeah. Crocodile.
It's a crocodile. There you go. And it's just a lot of fun. You know what I mean? It's not like lacking in joy. Like that's definitely an easy one to put on and watch for sure.
All right, cool.
It's
Ryan,
it's kind of a remake, by the way. I don't know if you realize that. It's kind of a remake of a movie called Dark Age,
Australian movie.
Australian movie. A lot of the same beats to it.
Oh, I did not know that. I'll look that one up too.
And
I'm also recommending Dark Age. Not
has the exact same ending though. The last shot of the movie is exactly the same.
Oh, that's awesome. I did not know that.
Yeah.
Is it credited as such, or did they rip it off?
They just ripped it off.
Yeah, the Australians haven't noticed, you know.
if you change just a much, see, in Australia it was an alligator.
Yeah.
Then they made it a crocodile, and it works.
They say the Australians, their vision's based on movement, so as long as you're not too.
I believe that's true. Ryan, what's your recommendation this week?
Like Rob, mine also has a bear.
Bear.
Because my movie is better than Grizzly, the bear talks, and he loves marmalade sandwiches. It's called Paddington 2. It's an adorable, utterly delightful children's film that has no right to be as good as it is, because it's the Godfather Part 2 of talking bear movies. And
isn't it Frank Conniff's favorite movie?
He does love the movie. I know that. If you think that your being a grown-up prohibits you from watching movies like this without having children, you are sorely mistaken. It's amazing, and it's streaming on the TBS and TNT apps, wherever the hell you find those.
Now, if Grizzly had wore galoshes, it might have been a whole different thing.
And a blue coat.
Ben, last but certainly least, what have you got for us?
Is there a Japanese bear movie we're not aware of?
It's got
probably is. About a giant robot bear or something like that. But no, I'm going to recommend everyone's favorite Grizzly ripoff, which is, of course, Jaws, which is the best movie ever about cinema's worst mayor.
That's true. Yeah, Jaws is my favorite movie. That's quite on record. Everyone knows this.
Spectacular.
So I was afraid that would make me like Grizzly a little less, but it didn't really affect it.
It didn't for me either. I kind of thought it would too.
But it was sort of funny. But what do you like about Jaws, Ben?
Oh, well, what's not to like? It sort of changed everything for cinema for like the next, decade after that? Like everyone was just trying to do this movie because it was so unique. My favorite one is House. If you've seen that, it's a Japanese horror movie. Yep. And it was meant to be a Jaws ripoff, and this thing was not Jaws. Yeah, it was just Jaws had like this huge monolith over it that everyone just like, can we do it like Jaws?
Yeah, I think Jaws is so great for overcoming technical challenges whereas Grizzly's got to overcome budget challenges.
Mm-hmm. I do like a lot of Dylan's suggestions for Grizzly. I think he could have made it like if the forest was scary, that would have changed a whole lot for me.
Yeah, maybe.
Jaws is a case of having to work around a disastrous production, whereas Grizzly's kind of like, yeah, this was the movie. That's what we got. Whatever we shot, that's what we got.
Yeah.
I think.
Go on, Frank.
No, that's okay. I'm done. I'm outnumbered. I was just going to say that I don't think that Girdler was necessarily a terrible director. I think that I think he had talent. I think that and sadly he passed away in a helicopter crash several years later, scouting his next movie, whatever it was going to be. But I think that he was handed a certain amount of money to make as good a Jaws ripoff as he possibly could, and in that sense, I salute him.
I mean, it was successful. It made a ton of money. You can't take that away from him. You cannot take that away from him.
Yeah, and it got its day in court here too. So we did everything we could for it. But with that, thank you for joining us again, Frank. We love having you here in the court.
Pleasure, man.
We'll have you come back next time. Whatever you pick, we're gonna assign you the opposite, though. No, you're defending this one now.
I don't know. That'd be tough with Battle for the Planet of the Apes, but
Yeah, we do have to have you on for a Planet of the
I
Apes
would love to do that. That would be great.
It's no conquest. I'll say
it's not. And it's
Which
not even
which
good
one is the
escape.
second one?
That's Beneath.
Which one's the second one?
It goes beneath, then
How many
escape.
prepositions are there around?
Oh, and which is and Frank,
Above, below.
Circumventing the Planet of the Apes.
which is the least? What's the least popular one?
Battle.
Battle, yeah.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
it's a
It's
kiddie
the worst
movie.
one.
And all the other movies are like, I mean, it's like they were known for their like amazing endings. You know, the first movie, the Statue of Liberty. The second movie, Heston blows up the entire planet. The third movie, you know, Otto Hasslein shoots a baby.
Yes.
And in Conquest, you know, the apes, like, well, in the director's cut anyway, the apes like kill all these people. There's blood flying everywhere. And at the end of Battle, a guy falls out of a tree. It's like
John
doesn't
Huston
doesn't even come close.
It was a big tree.
Yeah.
It wasn't
I don't
even
know,
a big tree.
See, because I did the watch through this year, and I felt like the second one, Beneath, was the one that disappointed me the most.
Really?
Because
I
it
love Beneath.
promises Heston, and you only get him for like 20 minutes.
Well, there's a whole story behind that, but
Yeah.
that is true. But
It's a big quality drop
he
off
didn't
from
want
the
to be
first
in the
one.
movie at all.
Yeah.
And they basically begged him, and so the compromise was, okay, I'll do the movie because you need me to make for it to be a sequel. He said, but how about if I'm at the very beginning and then I disappear and I don't come back until the very end? And so they were like, great, we'll take it, you know. So
yeah. Whereas I did like all last three. I liked the modern angle that they did, and you get to see the apes grow up and rise. I did like that.
Conquest is
Conquest is
my
great.
isn't the original. I love Conquest.
Yeah,
I like
And
Conquest.
Escape has a lot of stuff that I like about it, even though Dana Gould once called it Love American Style with Monkeys. And I think that's a pretty accurate description of it.
Well,
but
I
do-
smell a Planet of the Apes episode coming up.
I was gonna say, can we? Yeah, let's.
It's
put
going to
that-
come soon. So then we're all out of time for this week. But thank you, Frank, for joining us.
Sure.
And you know, we're all out of show, but we hope you'll join us next time as the reels of justice keep turning.
Count it.
No.
Is this when you play the
All right.
music?
Now you can go, Dino. There
Now
you
I can
Now-
go. Thank you.
Well, Dina, you have to do the music for us.
Now you can do your Q&A and everything that you like.
Oh well, no, I just went into Sanford and Sons for a second. I went dun 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 dun.
Stop. No, we'll have to pay the copyright. Stop.
I know, right?
Oh no, none of this will go in our podcast. So this is just Q&A stuff now. It's just
So
off the record.
yes, for all of y'all, thank you guys. Thank you, ROJ, for tuning in. Thank you guys who are in, our participants. One thing I did want, if you are just now tuning in and hearing my horrible voice, blame TV's Tim and the MSTie drinking group. Because
We do.
you should. They kept me up all night while I was
Ho,
just
ho,
telling.
ho, ho, ho.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Mhm.
jeez.
Adult presence. While I just regaled him with stories of my life throughout the whole thing. One thing I did want, if we have, luckily, hey, Ben and Frank, and is Rico still here?
well, he's
Hey
there.
Rico.
He may be muted by force.
No, he
mic.
should. He can if he wants to pop in. I just wanted to share some behind the scenes kind of fun things that happened 2 years ago.
Yeah.
We wrestlegated alligators. That's
We
not-
WrestleGated Alla wrestlers.
Alligators.
Except for Rob, he chickened out.
He didn't even come.
I was morally opposed to wrestling alligators. They never did anything to me.
So no, I did. I pulled up a couple pictures that I wanted to share with you guys. A big group of us here. Well, several of us, like I said, are here. We went to this great alligator farm in Colorado, and it's not like you don't crocodile hunter wrestle the alligators. It's all very humane, and in fact, the big part of it is you're helping that farm. It's run by this great family. They're super educated in reptiles and of course crocodiles and all that stuff. My favorite thing I think I remember was that they man the fires. Of course, reptiles do need to be kept warm, and not only along with the crocodiles and alligators they have huge tortoises that just walk around. Snakes. Please, Frank. Yes.
No, I was just going to say somebody just wrote that Carol Baskin runs it, and she does not.
Oh, that's some bullshit. I know. No, it was probably Gator King. Yeah.
I still have not seen that show. I do not.
Oh, you should. You should. It makes me sad that I'm from Oklahoma every day.
No. What you're saying, Dina, is so true that these people, it started out as a tilapia farm, and they brought in a couple of alligators just to eat the remains of the tilapia that died, and I guess people came. They wanted to see the alligators more than the fish, and then people started bringing them alligators that they had got acquired as pets and got too big, which people never think about when they get a baby alligator as a pet. And so eventually it turned into a rescue for alligators, crocodiles, and other reptiles. And they love their animals and they take very good care of them. And in fact, when you'll remember when I was sitting on the big alligator, the 9-footer, they treated her leg, right? She had a wound on her leg. And so I got to hold her while they just basically gave the
because the alligators sometimes like fight each other and bite
because they fight. Yeah.
So you're not really wrestling like he said, like Frank said. We're actually helping the farm owners make sure that these animals are being taken care of. Many people were like, "Oh my God, you're in the snow," because we went in January. It's been 2 years this January. Oh my God, and the alligators don't like snow. Thermal couplings. That's from Elf. The thermal warming or Star Trek.
Geothermal spring. Spring.
Yes. Colorado, we have those hot springs here, and so the alligators and the crocodiles they have these big pools and they're just chilling and they like the snow. And where it is located in Colorado, there is little to no shade. There are very few trees. The mountain is it's a desert area almost, I guess. There are sand dunes.
No, it is technically a desert.
Yeah. Yeah. So, well, shoot, Ben, you talk more about it. But no, it was just a super fun event that we put together, and we all went and visited this farm. I'm a big turtle fan. If there's not dolphins, I would like turtles. So seeing those big old turtles just pretty cool.
You're almost Dina Turtle.
Dina Turtle doesn't have the same ring to it, I was gonna say.
No, Dina Turtle. Yeah, no,
sketchy.
No, it's not.
I'd like to hear more about the farm where you got to pet and wrestle tilapia, though. No wonder it went under.
Big tilapia.
Yeah.
And that was actually even more fun with some of the inside stuff where we got to hold those giant monster. I don't remember what they're called.
Alligator snapping turtle.
I knew Frank would know. Frank, please. I know. Tell me more. You know about lobsters, not lobsters. Fuck.
I eat lobsters. I don't know.
I don't
know much about them as I know about alligators, though. The alligator snapping turtle is like the common snapping turtle, only 5 times bigger. They grow to be like one of the ones that they showed us was named Kong, and he weighed I think they said he weighed 150 pounds or
it was a lot.
Yeah, I mean the guy could barely pick him up. But they have these gigantic mouths that open really wide and they look very scary. But we got to hold a smaller one. We got to hold him out, and our friend Rico, I don't know if he's listening or not. He's out there.
He's somewhere.
Rico got scratched by one of the baby alligators on his nipple, and we were absolutely certain that he was just one lab disaster from being a supervillain because of it. He was going to be Black Gator or Black Gator. I remember what we called him, but we had some good giggles about that.
I mean, I would have called him
by
Shell
radioactive
Shock.
things too,
But the
Shell
alligators,
shock.
it was an incredible experience. It was, I'm right. I mean, Ben, right?
It was, yeah.
I have not done anything that cool since. So
They give you a certificate of insanity for doing that, and it's like mounted very, proudly in my parents' house.
Oh yeah, wait.
It goes right next to the one you had before.
Shut up, you.
From the donkey brains.
That one's not official. This one's official.
This is the one that they gave me after.
Yeah. Oh, you chose bravery. I chose insanity.
Well, no, we all got that. We all got that one. I got this one because I was the volunteer to first hold that one alligator.
Yeah,
but
Frank went first.
What you can't see is that they signed the certificate, and then there was the alligator had its mouth open, and they put the paper in here, and he went like that. So it's notarized basically by a real alligator.
So again, I just wanted to, because again, several of us are here on this Zoom, and that was just a super great experience. And I still have my shirt, and I think I still have like one free admission to go do the whole thing. Even if you don't want to wrestle with alligators, but they also offer just regular kind of tours showing, like I said, they're it's not botany. That's
you can hold the baby gators, like regardless if you're wrestling the big ones.
Yes, and again the turtles and the snakes and the geckos. I assume wherever Ian is out there. The echoes, they don't. That's not what they do.
It'd be fun to wrestle geckos.
Depends how big they are. Anyways, we do have some more questions for you, Frank, but Dale from Cinemasochist, I hope I'm saying that right, because again, I can't talk. I would like to ask him, I'm gonna spotlight him. He's gonna tell us about what we're gonna do after this.
Yeah, so in about 10 minutes, we're gonna start up our riff of the movie Elves. Coincidentally starring Dan Grizzly Haggerty. So there's a little
bear night.
Our Zoom link and all of that kind of stuff, if you go to our facebook.com/cinemaso, we're not allowed to use the word masochist on a Facebook URL, so we're just cinema. So
that's dumb.
I was watching this, and there was a woman in one of the non-spotlighted frames who was being aggressively licked in the face by her dog that I thought might have been more terrifying than what was happening in Grizzly. So that might be something to look for too.
I think Miss Schroeder, is that you? I have now spotlighted you. You can unmute. Is there still a dog? Because I love dogs. Oh, hold on. You can no.
There is a dog, but I just gave her. I bought a $57 prime rib roast, but I ate like that much, so she's eating that much.
I don't eat that good.
You could have shared it with us.
Yeah,
well,
right.
That explains the face licking.
Hey, come here.
But yeah, definitely come over to our other Zoom. I know it's kind of a pain to switch from one meeting to another, but we're going to do Elves, and we're also going to be giving away a free copy of our first ever commercial riff. The director of a So Bad It's Good movie called Order 86 was kind enough to let us release a commentary track on his DVD. We're giving away digital copies of that, and we also have a discount code. If you use the word Grizzly on their Vimeo page, you can get a couple bucks off of that to either rent it or watch it, and our riff is included in that as well. So I'm going to sign off here so I can actually start that and make sure that all my computer stuff still works for showing a movie. But I hope to see you all there, and this was a lot of fun. I was glad I got to see this.
Thank you, Dale, for again for being a part of this whole like MSTie in quarantine thing, and I am. You made a trailer,
And I watched it. I'm like, okay, I think I can stay awake for this for at least for a little while. I don't know.
That's the bar.
That's the, well, you know.
Well, the bar is the reason Dina can't stay awake very long.
Exactly. Hey, guess what? We're not in Paleo Joe's. We're in my house. It's a lot cheaper. No. Anyways, thank you, Del. We will we'll see you over in your Zoom. I have the link. I'll put it in the chat if Steve hasn't already done that, because God bless you, Steve. He's been my awesome guy behind the scenes helping me with all this fun stuff. So bye, Dale. See you over there. So yes, there's somebody had a question. I thought, I'm losing my voice. Again, of course, I want to talk about the gators and the fun stuff that we went and did. I didn't know the difference between alligators and crocodiles until we went there. And I'm a huge fan of Archer, the show. And one of his biggest fears is pretty much just alligators and crocodiles. But now I'm glad to know that crocodiles are faster than alligators. And they have that points now. Again, I would love to show off these amazing earrings that were made by one of your daughters. Thank you, Rob. Merry Christmas to me. But I did have one question. You work for Disney. You, like you mentioned, you and your wife kind of do stuff for Disney. And I luckily Rob corrected me earlier. What the daughter who made these, and I hope if she ever puts them up for sale, let me know, because I will make sure she gets some
She
money.
can make more of them.
Oh, good. Yeah, just again, let me know. But your other daughter, who also worked for Disney, please, okay, tell the story. I'll shut up.
Which story?
About Tangled. Is she's the basis for Tangled?
No, that's exaggerated somewhat. When they were designing Rapunzel, my older daughter Caitlin went in and they did some tests with her for the eye area. So when I watch that movie, it looks like I'm watching my daughter, even though it's probably more like Glenn Keane's daughter. He was the animator of Rapunzel. But yeah, but she was she worked the reception desk at Disney Animation for a little while. Now she's at DreamWorks. But John Lasseter used to refer to her as the face of Disney because she was the first face you saw when you came into the studio. But my younger daughter, Tabitha, who is the one who made the earrings, the Mystery Science Theater earrings, she is a very talented artist. She's going to college right now for studying art, illustration, etc. And she's no doubt, since right now, she's the only one who hasn't worked for Disney in this family. So we're pretty sure that will happen.
No, that's pretty great. Yeah, the earrings came out great too.
Oh my God, I love them. They're amazing. Thank you, Rob.
I'm sure. Get some pictures out there on the internet, and I'm sure some other people will want a nice pair themselves.
They definitely.
I took a couple of pictures. The ones I sent to you, Rob, for your approval before I sent them over to Dina.
I go and get the mail.
I didn't want to put the pictures up until after you opened the box and got them.
Yeah.
No, it's okay.
So accidentally ruin a surprise.
No, it was fine. I knew I was getting something, but I had no idea. And so then I get this thing, and it's addressed from you. So actually,
Frank,
I messaged you first, and he's like, "Oh no, it's something from Rob." And I'm like, "Okay, cool." And so I totally wrapped it in wrapping paper, my elf wrapping paper, and I opened it last night on a little Secret Santa Zoom that we did. I was dying. I had it under my tree for 24 hours, and it was killing me not to open it, having no idea. I love it. I love them. So yes, thank you to Tabitha, and if she wants to make more fun stuff. Drew, you have a question? I don't know where you are right now. I can't see things. Hold on. I got excited about my earrings.
Drew,
where are you?
Well, if you can't find it, it is almost time for Dale's thing. So if you wanna.
Hey, Frank.
Yeah.
I got a couple of questions for you.
Okay.
So I can't help but notice the fossilized creature hand behind you, and I saw you did a documentary.
Yeah, I didn't do I'm in a documentary about the creature from the Black Lagoon. It's called Creature
60 years of
features
the
60 years of the Gill Man,
Yeah.
where I'm just a talking head along with other notables, if you want to call them that. I made a documentary about King Kong, about the character and the legacy of the character, that is on Amazon Prime. It's called Long Live the King.
It's really
But
good.
this is very cool. I've had this for about 20 years. I don't even remember who the sculptor was. That this is a recreation of the fossilized hand that they find in the near the Black Lagoon at the beginning of Creature from the Black Lagoon, and it's an exact replica. It's really awesome.
Yeah, they actually sell those now. I met Rico 2 years ago. Rico Browning.
Yeah.
He was a lot of fun.
He's still kicking, man. He is something else. I was friends with Rico, with Ben Chapman, who played the creature on land, and Julie Adams, who's the star of the movie. And they were all wonderful. I had to interview Rico once in front of a room full of like 100 people, and I did all this research, I had all these questions laid out, and I started it by asking him, so let's first talk about what you're most famous for, why you're here, like how'd you get involved with Creature from the Black Lagoon? And Rico proceeded to tell that story, and without stopping, then told the story of every other movie he worked on from my one question. So then I was just like, when he was finally done, I was like, okay, well, we got 50 more minutes. Let's see what we can talk about now. But he's great. I mean, he's great with the fans, just like Ben was and like Julie was. And it's a marvelous movie. Certainly one of my favorites of that era, and the greatest monster costume of all time, that hands down.
Yes, Bob Burns says that many times. He actually got one of the last mold casts out of it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep. I also made a documentary about Bob Burns, so called Beast Wishes, which so I'm very familiar with that museum of his.
So you've actually seen the museum?
Oh,
no, yeah.
Well,
it's a documentary about it, right?
Yeah,
I'm on the East Coast, so.
Beast Wishes is the documentary. It's also on Amazon. You can watch it there. Yeah, we made that movie just to carve, because he's sort of the original fanboy.
Oh, yes.
And he's got this amazing collection of all this great stuff. And so I used to live right around the corner from him and Kathy.
Oh my God.
I've been there tons of times. It's and it never gets old, let me tell you. It's an amazing place.
Were you there when he was doing his Halloween shows?
Yeah, I was in one of them.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I was in the last one. They did The Thing from Another World, and I got to play the Kenneth Tobey role, the captain, and fight the Thing, which was so cool.
And that documentary Beast Wishes, which is it on Prime now?
I don't know if it's on Prime. I know it's on Amazon.
It's worth tracking down if you can track it down.
You can rent it on Prime. I don't know
and
if it's...
Yeah, you can rent it.
And it's got footage of those Halloweens. It's got a ton of the footage of those Halloweens.
Yeah, there's footage of the museum. There's footage of the Halloween shows. There's footage of him as a gorilla guy, because he was a gorilla suit guy.
Mm-hmm.
And there's fascinating, lovely people that thankfully are still with us.
Yeah, he used to work with Paul Blaisdell.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Lena?
I'm just trying to jump in here. Actually, no, Frank, this is awesome. And maybe we could do something like this again and get you on the Zoom. And Drew certainly is very knowledgeable. Just look at the hot dogs that he has in his mouth. So
The Horror of Party Beach.
It is.
Great film.
I know. So again, I know people would love to pick your brain and just chat with you some more. And as much as I would love to keep you guys here, it is Christmas, and I would like to go watch Elves. So if you guys would join me, where's your kazoo?
I don't have that. I have a hammer right now.
Okay. Well, there you go. That's what he said. He used to have a kazoo. Like,
you said you were within 10 seconds of it at all times.
I mean, 15, I'd have to run upstairs, and the kazoo is upstairs.
Anyways, again, thank you, Frank. Thank you, Reels of Justice, for doing this. This was super fun.
Thank you.
As always, I have put the link to the Cinemasochists Zoom, where they should be starting up their riff of elves really soon. Thank you to Steve for throwing other links down in the chat, for Frank himself. Again, Frank, we've met a couple times. It's super awesome always to hang out with you. And we will definitely do this real soon again.
Sure.
So yeah. Okay. Thank you. Merry Christmas.
Thank you, Frank. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, guys.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.